And we continue at 2:06 in the afternoon on the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wangs in Culver City.
More truth bombs from Karen Bass on the Evan Lovett podcast.
I haven't solved police hiring. I haven't solved the trash.
Well, what have you solved?
Good question.
And she's probably going to get reelected anyway.
No one's even announced they're running against her.
Someone has to do it. For heaven's sake. The woman is a failure. Someone, somewhere, please do it. Although, not anyone, because we don't need anyone like that guy in New York City or Minneapolis. We could pass on that.
Well, just you watch. Kenneth Mejia runs. He could win.
Go from the frying pan to the fire. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. And Randy, we have an update on all of the rioting that went on in Los Angeles after the ICE raids began and police officers were being assaulted.
Yes, apparently a lot of those cases, as they're going through the system, they're getting dropped because the grand juries don't want to go forward with them.
There you go. It's the same problem we talked about in San Francisco earlier. You just don't need a mayor who is on board with public safety. You need juries, you need judges, and you need parole boards. If there's a point of failure, it all falls apart.
For more, here's KCAL.
Federal agents arrested dozens of people for allegedly attacking or blocking ICE agents during those recent raids here in L.A. But tonight, the L.A. Times reports prosecutors are being forced to drop the charges in most of the cases. KCAL's Lori Paris has been digging into this report as well. So, Lori, what have you learned?
Well, we've learned that there are a lot of questions about why these cases are not moving forward. It does seem that a good number of them are going nowhere.
This isn't good news for the next round of riots.
No, because now they know they basically have the OJ jury looking at it.
By the way, have you noticed that now that the National Guard is cut down and the Marines have left, there's been attacks on the federal building 2 nights in a row?
Who could have seen that coming?
Over the past few weeks, as immigration agents have detained thousands in sudden and aggressive raids, they've also arrested dozens of U.S. citizens, claiming they interfered or attacked law enforcement officers. People like Andrea Velez, cuffed as her mother and sister screamed in agony. Her charges have since been dismissed.
Everyone in a riot that finally gets arrested sounds like a babbling baby.
Oh, yeah. They immediately play the role of the victim. They're real tough when they're throwing bricks at police officers, but the moment they have the cuffs put on them, suddenly, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just out here exercising my First Amendment.
Her charges have since been dismissed, and now the LA Times is reporting many of those cases are falling apart, claiming sources suggest U.S. Attorney Bill Asaley is having trouble moving cases forward. The LA Times says their look at the numbers found grand juries have indicted only 1 in 5 cases represented by federal prosecutors.
1 in 5?
These crimes were committed, many of which were committed on tape. We have videographic evidence of these people throwing things at officers and assaulting police horses, those sorts of things, and the grand jury still won't indict them.
A veteran member of the prosecutor's office told us it is extremely rare for a grand jury to return a no-bail decision. That's legal speak for refusing to indict someone, and is a sign prosecutors are vastly overreaching, filing cases they doubt they'll ever win. Former federal prosecutor, now defense attorney Megan Blanco, says it's unlike anything she's seen before.
You know, this seems to be more political.
On which side?
I'm telling you, people on the left right now are of the belief that a certain amount of violence is just baked into the cake with a protest, and you're just supposed to let it go. And if you blow the whistle on it, then you're the one that's curtailing their First Amendment rights.
This seems to be more political. These charges are coming, I think, out of pressure from Washington, D.C. We are seeing, I think, people, unfortunately, who are put in a position where they're given directives that may go against what they think is morally or ethically correct. But they have to choose between
How about the guy that threw the Molotov cocktail? Did we indict that one?
No, and here is what's going to happen. When there are no convictions because the grand jury is refusing to indict anyone, Karen Bass is going to say, there was no violence. There were no bricks thrown at anyone. None of that's true. How many convictions resulted out of all of these videos that were put out there? None. Didn't happen.
This is what was going on in San Francisco for a very long time, is even when you had a drug dealer dead to rights in a case and you tried it, the juries wouldn't convict him because they felt sorry for him.
Well, and this is why people have no faith in the criminal justice system, because you take all of these Trump people and you put them up on trial in Washington, D.C. that's 90+% Democrat, and you convict all of them on these shaky cases. Yet you have situations like this where the crimes are committed on videotape, you have them dead to rights, and the grand juries won't indict because of politics.
But they have to choose between following through with those directives or losing their job.
She represents Jose Mojica, who was arrested in this Paramount raid and accused of pushing a federal officer. Those charges have since been dropped.
What's the point?
Yeah, I mean, at this rate in California, if you have to file charges in California and get a California grand jury, get a California judge, and get a California jury, you're just wasting your time prosecuting anyone for anything as long as they're doing it on behalf of a left-wing cause.
The feds sent us a list of 41 defendants, showing 6 dismissals, though it's unclear if that's because a grand jury did not indict. Noted civil rights attorney Luis Carrillo represents 5 U.S. citizens arrested in the raids.
There was so much racial profiling that they were picking up every brown-skinned resident or citizen. They were overzealous when you don't have the true factual basis to charge a crime.
And that makes it okay to throw rocks at cops?
Sure, because they were really mad.
It turns into a weak case.
This is video of one of his clients, Javier Ramirez, getting taken in during a raid at his Montebello tow yard. His assault charges were dismissed, but the trauma of what happened lingers.
To be honest, just talking about it, I feel anxious. I'm honestly not even out in public anymore. Just afraid, it might happen again.
Boy, people love to revel in victimhood.
Oh, yeah. I have a friend who's a public school teacher, and there are teachers who are refusing to show up to work because they say they're afraid that they're going to be kidnapped and taken to another country. Mind you, these people are all United States citizens and public school teachers in California. It's totally ridiculous.
If I do something just straight up from my car, go home, from my work, go home, that's pretty much it. I'm not going out.
The U.S. Attorney's Office sent us a statement saying, in part, the Los Angeles Times article relies on factual inaccuracies, falling far short of basic journalistic standards. Our office will continue working unapologetically to charge all those who assault our agents or impede our federal investigations.
Unless the grand jury says no.
It's too bad they can't find a grand jury in Idaho.
Now, according to the LA Times, some prosecutors are even refusing to sign their names to controversial cases. In South Pasadena, I'm Lori Perez. Back to you.
So there's the latest out of what's going on with that.
I'll tell you, we're headed to a place that's not good. If you have these people dead to rights, assaulting officers, and the jury pool just is of the belief that that's okay, you can't prosecute those cases because the population just won't produce a jury that will convict on them. And if you're the U.S. attorney, what do you do when you get presented with something like that? Do you just say, oh, that's a crime, we don't prosecute anymore because we can't convict on it in that particular state? I mean, after a certain point, that's what you probably do because you don't want to keep banging your head up against the wall and wasting all of your time. But this is where we are. And I'll tell you that it's very dangerous to subscribe to the belief that political violence is okay as long as you're really mad. If political violence is okay as long as you're really mad, then you're going to get more of it. It's just like with homelessness. It's like with retail theft. If you put up with the retail theft and you put up with the crime and you put up with all of those things, guess what? You end up getting more of it. And that's what we're dealing with right now in California. And now it looks like we're going to add yet another crime to the list where we're just not going to prosecute it, because if you do, nothing's going to come out of it. All right, Randy, let's go ahead and reopen the crime blotter.
If the cashier is dummy.
Questions?
I feel like all of the additions of the blotter today are updates to stories that we did earlier this week, because we have yet another fire at Runyon Canyon.
For more, here's Fox 11.
Tonight, concerns are growing in Hollywood Hills after 2 late-night fires ignited in Runyon Canyon. Over the past 3 nights, residents say there have been at least 7 fires this year, sparking fears of something more dangerous. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf is live with the story you'll see only on Fox 11. Matthew?
How I would love to live in a city that doesn't have a whole bunch of people that want to start fires.
Who knows? Maybe that'll be the next category of crime that we just don't prosecute.
Oh, Christine, these fires are...
Well, if you remember, the last time the Palisades was set on fire before this destructive one was in 2021, where there was a homeless arsonist that was starting fires in the Palisades. It's actually the origin of this drop.
I've received things on both ends.
And it was George Gascon, the newly elected DA at the time, that said, well, he was probably just cold.
That's right. It was a crime associated with poverty, so we have to give this guy a break.
Quite frankly... Oh, Christine, these fires are happening late at night when these gates are supposed to be closed and locked. Also, very close to apartments and homes. People worry this could get worse. Flames erupting again in Hollywood Hills. This fire Monday along the Runyon Canyon hiking trail. Then another just yards away early Thursday morning.
We're not talking about power lines. We're not talking about lightning strikes. We're talking about fires set by people.
Totally preventable.
This is pyroterrorism. I think there should...
I like that term.
I think there should be a massive manhunt underway.
2 fires in about 3 days, sparking this new group called Runyon Canyon Guardians.
Protect our home!
Nearby residents...
Everyone wants to be a vigilante now.
You notice that's also a theme to the blotter stories.
Protect our home!
Nearby residents now fuming.
If this is happening 4 months from now, when everything's dried out and the winds are blowing hard, that would be really bad.
We all live in apartments here.
I mean, it's not like we have solved the underlying reasons why these fires happen all the time. There's a very good chance we could have something, hopefully not as destructive, but could be close to as destructive as we saw in January next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and the year after that.
We're not taking it seriously. If we were, whenever we catch an arsonist, we would come down on them like a ton of bricks.
We all live in apartments here. The brush is super dry. We can all go up in flames.
This dude just started the fire.
Less than 2 weeks ago on the same popular hiking trail, a suspected arsonist was apprehended by hikers.
Hey, this guy just set that fire.
The man, previously arrested at least 15 times, believed to be homeless, seems to admit on camera to igniting the flames.
You just came from over there. We just saw you.
You're right.
Mental health issues in general. Sometimes it can be somebody who even lives here and is angry at anything. There's just no way to know who's doing it.
But it's usually the homeless, right?
Usually the homeless and usually the meth.
And is angry at anything. There's just no way to know who's doing it.
In January, the Sunset Fire, also in the same area, scorched 60 acres and caused mass evacuations.
On Monday night, this was on fire.
Residents count at least 7 fires in 6 months within Runyon Canyon, and they say no explanation from any officials, including their District 4 LA City Council member, Nithya Raman.
Shocker!
She doesn't show up to something important. That seems to be a theme, too.
She has not let us know if there is an investigation going on, even back from January. This is ridiculous. We deserve to know what is going on.
Well, it's equity if your single-family home burns down, because then she can put up apartments.
Oh, yeah, and that's what they're wanting to do.
This is ridiculous. We deserve to know what is going on.
We've gotten very lucky this place has not caught fire. And come down into this residential neighborhood. What are they waiting for? How much more is it? Are they waiting for the actual fire?
The District 4 Council Office just sent us this statement tonight saying Councilmember Nithya Raman has committed additional funding to strengthen security measures in the surrounding area.
That doesn't mean anything.
Nope.
Park rangers have already increased their patrols throughout the park, but I do want to show you this. Now, we saw what looked like a city official come and lock this gate just about an hour ago. Since then, we've seen somehow people are still figuring out a way to reach in there and get it open.
They all reach around, huh?
So much for security.
Even after it's supposed to be closed. We're live tonight. Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
So there's the latest out of Runyon Canyon. 7 fires in 6 months.
And that was one of the fires that was going on at the same time as Altadena and Pacific Palisades, and that entire canyon was on fire. So you know what kind of fire risk exists in that area. And we're allowing people to play these games. If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, the end of the show is, well, about 33 minutes away. If you want to continue listening to us after we sign off at 3, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could do what George Gascon likes to do to himself in the middle of the night.
Do a Google on YouTube.
Or you can get one of our apps. Get the free KABC app. Get the free KSFO app. Those are the easiest ways to listen live to our radio stations and download all the podcasts. You can listen to these podcasts whenever you want. You can listen to them in the middle of the night, or you can listen to them early in the morning where...
You have to wake up and smell the coffee.
And Randy, if you're in the Fresno area this weekend, we're going to be on the radio there too.
Every Saturday from 2 to 3, catch the Fix California Hour, Fresno edition, with John Phillips and Randy Wang from 2 to 3 on KMJ. That's AM 580 on the AM dial, 105.9 FM. And you can stream that one wherever you are at KMJNow.com and download the KMJ Now app.
Well, we know that there have been threats made about potentially redoing the redistricting in states like Florida and potentially even Texas mid-cycle because there was a lot of gerrymandering that went on during the last census, and there's meat on the bones in places like Florida and Texas. If Republicans want to get really aggressive in those states, redrawing the lines, they can draw out any number of Democrats. And keep in mind, the House of Representatives is very close right now. It's a very slim Republican majority. In response to that, Gavin Newsom said, well, if you start making moves at redistricting Florida, we're going to redistrict in California, and we're going to draw as many Republicans out as humanly possible, and I'm ready to get this thing started.
For more, here is Ashley Zavala and KCR3 with Gavin Newsom's threats of a retaliatory redistricting.
A redistricting showdown at the state capitol. Live Copter 3 giving us some exclusive images over the Capitol right now. Governor Gavin Newsom is soon expected to decide how and if he will push state lawmakers to redraw California's congressional districts to help send more Democrats to Washington, D.C. Thanks for being with us at 6 today. I'm Golston Dart.
And I'm Edie Lambert. So this is
Gotta love that name, Golston.
So this is in response to Texas, where state lawmakers will start talking about doing the same thing, but for Republicans. KCRA3's Capitol correspondent Ashley Zavala explains the challenge with redistricting here in California.
Well, here at the state capitol, it's summer recess, so California lawmakers are gone for about a month. But when
must be nice.
Yeah. They've done such a good job running this state, they all deserve to go to Disney World.
But when they get back, they could be stepping into a redistricting war. It depends on just how far Texas state lawmakers and Governor Gavin Newsom are willing to go.
It's the new Cold War.
Okay. So, go ahead.
No, you go for it.
Well, this is all about Gavin Newsom trying to position himself as the Democrat who is willing to take Donald Trump on just about every front. Because if you look at the nuts and bolts of what a redistricting in California would look like, it's not as easy as it would be in some of those other states because we have an independent commission that draws the line. Now, our independent commission is basically a Democratic gerrymander, specifically a gerrymander that was intended to produce seats that would be represented by candidates of certain ethnicities. That's how they drew the lines here in California. In other states, the state legislature just draws the lines. So it's easier to redo it if you want to, because the legislature would just have to do it. In California, we'd have to take another vote, and we'd have to get rid of that independent commission. On top of that, when you look at population patterns here in California, we're losing congressional seats when they do the next census. We're probably going to lose 3. We might lose 4. I guess there's potential, if things really go south, that we will lose 5. And if you look at the places where our population is declining, it's basically in the most Democratic districts in the state, specifically in Los Angeles County and the Bay Area. There's no way to redraw those lines and draw out Republicans because there are no Republicans left in those areas. So they're going to have to draw Democrats out of the next census, of the next redistricting process that we do here in California. So let's just say that Gavin gets what he wants and they redraw all the lines midway through, halfway through. Well, what you're going to end up with is you're going to end up with the task of drawing out many of those Democrats when you have to redo it again at the 2030, which is when they're supposed to do that. So what he would be doing is doing something that will benefit him in the short term, but it would be catastrophic for California Democrats, specifically for their congressional delegation. And then also the state legislature. I guess if you're going to redraw the lines, you might as well redraw the state legislative lines too. But you're going to see massive changes during the next redistricting in the legislature because, as I said before, the population declined in San Francisco, it declined in Los Angeles, but it gained in the Inland Empire and the Central Valley. So within the legislature, the Central Valley and the Inland Empire are going to have more seats and a stronger voice.
This Saturday, Texas state lawmakers are set to start hearings on whether to redraw the state's congressional lines. It's a push to send 5 more Republicans to the U.S. House of Representatives in the 2026 election.
They're just throwing what they can against the wall to see what sticks.
Texas's Democratic Party chairman with this call.
I hope that Democrats across the country will stand up and send a strong message that we're not here to take it.
If you're going to cheat, we're going to cheat better.
Well, the problem for them is that in states like Illinois or Massachusetts or other Democratic states where they control everything, they basically have already gotten all the juice out of the squeeze. You can't get any more out of those states because they've already gerrymandered it up. California is one of the few places where they can pick some up, but it would only be a couple. You're not talking about some massive windfall because they've already drawn them up to benefit the Democrats.
Message received by Governor Gavin Newsom.
I'm not going to be passive at this moment.
He's still deciding whether to take California's redistricting process away from the state's independent, citizen-led commission and put it back into the hands of California's Democratic-dominated legislature for the first time in 2 decades. Newsom said he'll either try to take the issue to California voters in a special election this year, or he'll just ask lawmakers to redraw the lines themselves.
Because why not?
Which of these seems like the most viable to you? I checked in with Paul Mitchell, California elections expert and vice president of Political Data, Inc.
They could start drawing districts And when all those districts are withdrawn and when they pass the bill, somebody would likely sue.
Mitchell said both of Newsom's options involve a lot of work in a little bit of time. The redraw likely needs to be done by the end of this year.
Going to the voters with a ballot measure is a different kind of complex issue, and that is that you need voters.
Is the average voter even going to understand what the hell this is about?
No, this would be like when Katie Porter ran on not accepting corporate PAC money or earmarks. It's something that goes over everyone's head.
To simultaneously.
And if you look at the last time Gavin had a full court press to pass something, that was Prop 1, and it barely passed. And Gavin's full court press to not pass something, Prop 36, made him look like a buffoon because it passed 70-30.
He's batting 50-50 with his last two.
To simultaneously believe two things. One is we know that voters support independent redistricting commissions. About 70% of voters in polling that I've done for a decade have supported that concept. It would require voters to think, okay, I'm so angry about...
Especially those ones in L.A. that are totally independent, except they were completely BS because of the tapes that we heard from Kevin De Leon and such.
It's like that at the state level, too.
By the way, you can blame, if you live in Sherman Oaks, if you live in Encino, the whole reason that Nithya Raman is your council person is because Nuri Martinez and Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo were trying to move her lines to a place where they thought she would lose, and it still didn't work.
Nope.
Have supported that concept. It would require voters to think, okay, I'm so angry about what's happening in Texas. I believe that we need to kind of fight fire with fire. So I'm willing to have us go to partisan redistricting, even if it's for one election.
Mitchell said California could likely redraw 5 districts to boot Republicans from office and send more Democrats to D.C.
You know, if Gavin's got the crayon, he's going to try to cut out Kevin Kiley's district.
Oh, sure. Kevin Kiley, Ken Calvert, maybe a couple in the Central Valley. He's going to go after all of them.
Are you worried about your seat with this discussion happening?
No, because I think California voters...
Hey, it's Kevin Kiley.
There you go.
No, because I think California voters, if this comes to them again, will reaffirm what they've already established, which is that this process should be nonpartisan.
No, the average Californian will look at this and say, I don't know what this is. I'm not going to vote.
Process should be nonpartisan.
Rockland's Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley says it's important that California politicians don't choose their voters.
I think this should be alarming to anyone who cares about democracy and fairness.
I reached out to the Democratic leaders of California's Assembly Elections Committee and State Senate Elections Committee. That's Assemblymember Gail Pellerin and State Senator Sabrina Cervantes. Neither one weighed in directly on what Governor Gavin Newsom is considering, but they did criticize Texas's push. They said basically anything moving forward will prioritize California voters. Reporting at the state capitol, Ashley Zavala, KCRA 3 News.
Governor Gavin Newsom's been on vacation, and he gets back later this week. His office said there's nothing new to share about his decision-making or a timeline on that decision when we reached out today.
But it grabbed a headline, so that's all that matters.
All that matters for him. Let's go to Dale in Hillsburg. Dale, hello.
Hello. Hey, I've grown up in this state my whole life. Up in Healdsburg, and I've watched the urban decline where all they keep passing out the money for the homeless in Oakland and all that. But on this voter thing, when a lot of voters have been discouraged on the Uniparty here in California, we're surrounded by a bunch of blue. But I vote every time. I've been voting for 40 years. These bond issues, save the mountain line, save this, save that. These people vote with their feelings. It feels good. Oh, yes, save everybody. But they're stupid, uneducated, brainwashed here in California. I don't understand it myself.
All right. Thank you for the call, sir. I appreciate it.
I did dump that, but I didn't want to.
Let's go to Cliff in Vallejo. Cliff, hello.
What's going on, John and Randy? What's happening with you guys today, man? Top of the day to you, man. You know what I'm saying? If you want to handle a problem, you have to get to the root of the problem, okay? And the root of the problem in California is, this is the Fix California program, isn't it?
Well, 1 o'clock, yes.
Yeah, well, whenever it is. It still should be, 24 hours a day to Fix California hour, okay? And the number one reason why California in the problem is having the problems that we have is that we have a bunch of liars that everything that come out of their mouth is a complete and absolute lie. And you know why? Because they are of their father, the devil, okay? And that's it. That's the bottom line right there. And I'm a get more specific about this, okay? California, if you go from Southern California to Northern California, you got Santa Monica, Santa Rosa, San Luis Obispo. All those were missions, okay? They were named those cities were named after missions, okay? From the bottom of California to the top. That's why Satan's seat is in California right now, because he wants control of everything that's named God. That's it. It's just that simple right there. Anything God got his name on, Satan wanted part of that, okay? Didn't he offer Jesus? He offered Jesus. Just bow down to me and I'll give you all this. Isn't that what he said? So he got to be in control of it. My only point, you guys have a blessed weekend. Yeah, think about what I just said, man, because that's some real talk. That was a revelation I got probably about 5 years ago, that California pretty much is Satan's seat. Look, I'll put it to you like this. In the city of Danville, one of the most richest cities in Contra Costa County, the main street in Danville is named Diablo Road. Now, why would you name your main street Diablo Road? I don't get it. You explain that one to me.
Well, the Arizona State Sun Devils call themselves the Sun Devils, and I think they play at Diablo Stadium where they used to, the baseball team. But thank you so much for the call, Cliff. I appreciate it.
Clifton never disappoints.
No, he does not. It's the John Phillips Show.